Morning, Bridget.
Morning. Thanks so much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for giving us your time. I know that we recently celebrated World Diabetes Day, and you encouraged South Africans to wear it blue for diabetes. Can you tell us about that specific day, World Diabetes Day, and its significance?
Mm. So World Diabetes Day is on the 14th of November every year. And what I love about chatting to you today is that we often find a lot of people want to talk about diabetes on actual World Diabetes Day. And then the rest of the year, it's not as much of a thing. But
Yeah.
for people living with diabetes, both type 1 and type 2 diabetes, we're living with it every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Mm.
Wear Blue for Diabetes is our campaign every year, and we invite individuals, schools, and workplaces to wear blue on World Diabetes Day as a way to spread awareness for people living with diabetes, but also of the symptoms of diabetes, which I'm going to throw in now quickly, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So there are 5 common symptoms of diabetes. Um, Increased hunger, you see that particularly with type 2,
Yeah.
increased thirst, needing to pee a lot, especially at night, exhaustion, and blurry vision. And then in type 1, particularly in kids, it's the most noticeable. You also see weight loss.
Yeah.
So those are the symptoms everyone should be on the alert for.
Mm. I know that you have type 1 diabetes. Can you tell us a bit
Mhm.
more about that and how has it been for you personally?
So I was diagnosed with type 1 15 years ago, and it was a very dramatic diagnosis. So type 1, I'll quickly tell the difference for those who don't know.
Mm.
Type 1 is an autoimmune condition. It's genetic, but not hereditary, so it doesn't run in families. And there's not a satisfying reason you get it. It's a combination of 2 or more immunological insults.
Yeah.
But the diagnosis is often very dramatic and sudden. You end up in hospital and you have to take insulin injections every time you eat for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Type 2 is the more common type. It's 90% of people. And it's often called a lifestyle condition, but that's not actually fair because it has a strong hereditary link. So it runs in families, your families with type 2, and then it's triggered by lifestyle things, which is eating the wrong kind of food, too much junk food, too much sugar, too many fatty fast food kind of thing,
Yeah.
not exercising enough, so not moving enough, and carrying extra weight, particularly around the middle, that triggers type 2.
Hmm.
So for me, the diagnosis was very hectic and I thought my life was over. And I felt like I was the only person who was living with type 1, which is crazy, but often what many of us feel when we have a diagnosis.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a community of people I could connect to show me that it's possible to live a normal life with diabetes. And so that's why we started Sweet Life Diabetes Community to
Mm.
show that you can live a perfectly happy, healthy life with diabetes if
Mm.
you take care of yourself.
Interesting. Speaking of Sweet Life Community, your organization, how is it educating people on diabetes and what else is it doing beyond Wear It Blue campaign? We before our conversation started, you spoke about a national run that's happening this weekend. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Mm-hmm. So Sweet Life is a nonprofit. We are South Africa's largest online diabetes community, and we offer really easy to understand information and education about diabetes in English, isiXhosa, isiZulu, and Afrikaans on our website, which is sweetlife.org.za, which is South Africans with Diabetes. And on Instagram, we're sweetlife.org.za.
Yeah.
And the goal there is really to offer expert opinion. So we have a panel of experts. All the information we share is verified by experts, but we want to offer it in a way that makes sense because a lot of the time doctors speak a different language to the rest of us. And
Yeah.
we also want to offer a space to be able to like the mental health side of living with these and the frustrations and give a space to vent and all of that. So it really is a community of lovely. Like I love hanging out with our community.
Yeah.
But we also do a lot of nonprofit work, particularly in the public sector. So we have created a healthy food guide. We've created leaflets on how to manage type 1 and type 2 diabetes. We do webinars. We have a podcast, South Africans with Diabetes. We have frequent videos. We have Ask Me Anything events. It's really a space, any question you have. We say our website is kind of like the diabetes Wikipedia of South Africa.
Yeah.
Any questions you have, we either have the answer or we'll find the answer if you ask us. And we are members of SA Diabetes Advocacy, which is an umbrella nonprofit of all the diabetes advocacy groups in South Africa. So all the organizations of people with diabetes. Yeah. And on Saturday, the 26th, we are holding the first national diabetes run. Yeah. You can walk or run, or if you're in a wheelchair, wheel, yeah, for however far or short, however long or short a distance you choose. Yeah. Anywhere you are in South Africa, it's a virtual run, and there's a group of people meeting at Sea Point Promenade in Cape Town at 9:30. But there are also going to be group country. Everyone's invited to take part, and you can find out about that on nationaldiabetesrun.co.za.
That's quite exciting. I might just partake. You mentioned quite.
Please do.
I will. I definitely will. You mentioned quite a lot of things. I like that there's various tools available to educate people. Does the organization only run in Gauteng, or it's national? Can you tell us about some of the work that you've done across South Africa?
So we are nationwide. Our presence is pretty much entirely online. So the community work we do is totally online, the community building and the social media and website and all of that. And then our healthy food guide is a printed book. It's fully illustrated, and it tells you how much to eat and in which portions, because the feedback from doctors was that portion control was a real problem. Yeah. And we distribute those around the country to anyone who asks for them. And then the leaflets, we're doing a trial in public clinics in primary, secondary, and tertiary next year. And they are about TEAL, which is the very basic building blocks of diabetes education that we've developed. It stands for take your medication, eat healthy food, exercise a little each day, and lose weight if you need to. And we do that also nationwide. And then we create a diabetes journal every year for people living with type 1. And we just created a kids guidebook for parents of kids who have just been diagnosed with diabetes as well. So we try and answer the need whenever the community asks for something specific.
That's quite special. I love that it involves everyone in the community. So speaking of community, for people that want to volunteer or contribute, how do they contact the organization?
So the best way is probably through our website, sweetlife.org.za. And if anyone is interested, if you're living with diabetes, or you have a family member living with diabetes, or you work with diabetes and you want to get involved in diabetes advocacy, SA Diabetes Advocacy is running a free advocacy training course. Yeah. It's 4 weeks, and it's online. It's a Zoom call once a week, and it kind of teaches you everything you need to know to be able to advocate for people living with diabetes in South Africa. And all the details of that are also on our website, or on Facebook with South Africans with Diabetes, or sweetlife.org.za on Instagram.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the work that you do at Sweet Life.